Good food, bad food, yummy food, I'm hungry, what shall I eat? Can you tell a person's relationship with food by what's in their fridge, what's in their shopping trolley, what's in their cupboard? Have you ever judged somebody by what's in their shopping trolley, in their fridge or in their cupboard? And more importantly, what do you need to eat to give you mental and physical health, not just physical health? So if your mental health is determined by I can't have, mustn't have, don't have, shouldn't have food that you really want to have, so you feel angry because you can't have it, or you eat it and you feel stressed and feel guilty, how can that possibly be good for your head? And if your food's not helping your head feel good, your brain is under stress, your body is under stress and guilt and anger because you can't have, or you ate and you feel stressed, what does that do to your overall health? And I think they're really important questions, because there's a thing called an eating disorder, and counsellors and psychiatrists and psychologists and doctors around the world right now are dealing with people who have a horrible relationship with food. Some people don't want to eat any food at all, anorexics. Some people eat a large amount of food and then try and poo it out or throw it up, use laxatives. That's that horrible bulimic situation. We have exercise bulimics, people who eat food, feel really bad about it, and then spend hours and hours and hours and hours in the gym trying to burn up the calories that they put into their body because they feel so guilty that they ate that amount of food. And then what about obesity, where it seems that food is controlling your life? You don't care if you're unhealthy, you just keep eating food, eating food, eating food, eating food. Is that because you're hungry? Probably not. Is that because it's yummy? Probably not. The human body doesn't need that much food. So there's something physically or emotionally or mentally wrong with what's going on with the body that you would want to eat so much food that it makes you sick. I've dealt with this all of my professional career. I've worked with all of the range of eating disorders, and it comes in an interesting scale. It's called the emotional eating scale. If you are 0 on the scale, it means you have no emotional relationship with food at all. You just eat when you're hungry, you stop eating when you're full. You eat the things that you like, you don't eat the things that you don't like, and you never feel guilty at all about anything that you eat. That's 0. When you're 10 on the emotional eating scale, you are constantly at war with your own body, with your own headspace. Can I have this? Can't I? I shouldn't have this. It's bad for me. How many hours of exercise do I need to do to get rid of this? I shouldn't eat this, but I want to have it. And there's a constant battle, war, for some people, a nuclear war on what they can and can't eat. And to me, none of that sounds like very good fun. I don't want to live my life like that. How about you? So how do we make sure, and it's difficult, and I think almost impossible, and I don't like to use that word, but I've worked with so many people that have a horrible relationship with food or a horrible relationship with themselves, and they take it out with the way they eat food, and their life is miserable. I'm not sure that I can change that. I'm not sure it can be changed. The example or the analogy that was shared with me by one of my clients is it's like being an alcoholic. But when you're an alcoholic and you stop drinking, or you don't ever stop being an alcoholic, you just stop drinking. It doesn't mean that you don't want to drink, you just don't, because you can't stop if you start. Well, the challenge with food, of course, is you have to eat food. So you can say, I'm not going to eat chocolate anymore, or I'm not going to eat lollies anymore, or I'm not going to eat takeaway food anymore, but you have to eat food. So if you have a horrible relationship with food, it's not something that you can give up. So how do we make sure, if we can't change adults, the way adults live or the way adults are thinking, the mental state that adults have got themselves into when it comes to food, how do we make sure that our kids grow up knowing that food is a lovely thing, it's a great part of life, you need to eat food, food's awesome. And even if you don't think food is awesome and you're not what we call foodies, so people who just love to eat food, what about you have to have energy? Your body doesn't survive without putting calories into your body, and the body needs carbohydrate, protein and fat. So how are you going to get that in the right format to make sure that you are mentally and physically healthy? Well, is it possible that we need to stop putting a label on food that says it's good or bad? Because it's sort of the stretch is not that far. If I think this is a bad food and I eat it, then I feel like I'm a bad person. So I become emotionally attached to this horrible thing that goes on inside my brain and inside my body. And the emotion of food is where the challenges come from, because the people that are at 0 on the emotional eating scale, the people that have no emotion attached to food, eat when you're hungry, stop eating when you're full, eat the foods that you love, don't eat the foods that you don't like, that's a really nice place to live. How does that sound? Versus if you're at 10 on the emotional eating scale, where you're constantly warring with yourself and everything that you eat. So every time you sit down to eat, you're having a fight in your own head about whether or not you should eat this thing. And when you work with anorexics, as I have all of my career path, it's not just bad. There's no such thing as a bad food, because for an anorexic, all food is bad. Every part of my body says, I don't want to eat this. I want to be in full control of my life, so I don't want to eat this food. And it was explained to me again by one of my clients, very simply. She said, I have lost control over every area of my life. If I start eating food, I will now lose control of that one thing that I have control over, which of course is not logical, it's emotional. So how do we make sure that we keep people at the logical end of the scale, eating scale, and away from the emotional end? And this is for me such an important thing. As soon as you label something good or bad, as soon as you say you can't have, mustn't have, don't have, shouldn't have, it becomes emotional. Because technically there are no bad foods, because all food is made of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen and nitrogen. All food, whether it's a lolly or an apple or a piece of meat or some cereal or some pasta or a piece of broccoli, they're all made of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and if it's an animal product, it also has nitrogen, protein. So why do we put a label on it? Why not just eat when you're hungry and stop eating when you're full? Why not eat the foods that you love, and why would you ever waste calories on foods that you don't like? Those are questions that I'm always asking. But how do you get your headspace there where you are logical? And of course, the only way to do that is to have a healthy brain. And the only way to have a healthy brain is to have a healthy body, because your brain lives inside your body. So is it possible that all of that can be sorted by being really fit and being really strong physically and mentally? Not fanatically fit or fanatically strong, not exercising for hours and hours. I'm talking about the physical response inside your brain when you get really fit and you get really strong. So when you get puffed, when you lift heavy, when your body's as fittest and strongest as it can possibly be, 100% effort to get 100% result. Now you've got a brain that's healthy. So your brain can create neuroplasticity, so you can think differently. Your brain becomes plastic, as that would suggest. Neurogenesis, which is growing new brain cells. So even if you've had a horrible past with food, you can change all of that by being really fit and really strong and growing new brain cells. So rather than focusing on food, can't have, mustn't have, don't have, shouldn't have, this is the best diet, this is what you should be eating, you should be carnivore, you should be gluten-free, you are lactose intolerant, you shouldn't be eating that because it's the wrong time of the day, all the things that come with food, the controversial, horrible arguments that people have about food. What if we just dump all of those and focus on, let's get you as fit and strong as possible? Because when you're really fit and when you're really strong, your brain thinks more clearly, more logically. You have brain-derived neurotropic factor, which is the fertilizer for your brain. That's produced when you exercise at 100% effort. So now that's the neuroplasticity and the neurogenesis that gives you a brain that can think differently, and you can grow new brain cells. You also have a very strong and effective and fit, healthy endocrine system, hormones. Your hormones control your hunger, your hormones control your satiety. So if you want to be the person that eats when you're hungry, stop eating when you're full, and you don't eat anything that you don't need, that's all the hormonal system. So if you're really fit and really strong, so your endocrine system is fit and strong, your body will actually tell you, your hormonal system will say, eat because you're hungry. Stop eating, you're full, you don't need any more food, you're full. Don't eat that, your body doesn't need it at the moment. Go to sleep because you're tired, drink because you're thirsty. That's all controlled by hormones. But if you are not healthy, you're not fit, you're not strong, your endocrine system, your hormonal system is screwed up as well, then you start eating for emotional reasons rather than logical ones. And when you eat emotionally, you eat too much. You don't eat because you're hungry anymore, you eat because you're angry, or you're upset, or you are emotional. Having worked with literally thousands of people that have a horrible relationship with food, which then translates into a horrible life, because you have to eat. Even if you don't want to, the body has to take in food. So if you have a horrible relationship with food, you end up having a horrible life. And can you imagine, you might not know what this is like, but can you imagine what it would be like that every time you sit down to eat food, every time you think about eating food, every time you think about going to a place that has food, you start having an argument with yourself. I can't go there because the wrong kind of food will be there. I want to have this, but I can't have it. This is bad food. It's going to make me fat. How many hours of exercise will I have to do to burn this off? This is a horrible way to live. I wish this for everybody. Love your food. Be excited that your food can give you energy. Eat when you're hungry. Stop eating when you're full. Eat all the foods that you love without guilt and stress, and don't waste calories on food that you don't like. The only way to do that is to have a really fit, strong body and a really fit, strong brain, a really fit, strong hormonal system, and that is very simple. Get puffed to get fit, lift heavy to be strong, and do it safely so you don't get injured, and then it all works together. So you can live your life to the max. And open up your fridge, and whatever's in there, you can eat it, because you wouldn't have anything in your fridge that you don't like, and you would never feel guilty about the foods that you love. How good's that? Woohoo! Live your life to the max, yeah.